Welcome to AFSPA Talks, a production of the American Foreign Service Protective Association. Each month, we deliver informative health and wellness topics you want to know about, so make sure to subscribe to us on your preferred podcast platform. And if you have any questions about content discussed in this episode, ask them at AFSPA Live, our live Q&A session streaming every last Thursday of the month at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on youtube.com/AFSPA Cares. Now here's your host, Chief Executive Officer Kyle Longton.
Welcome to another episode of AFSPA Talks. This is Kyle Longton along with
Maddie Norton.
Maddie. This episode is reaching our listeners on September 30th, which means that it's very exciting, still Life Insurance Awareness Month. And we've done, I know, you can
so
still
excited.
feel it in the air. It's not just fall, which has arrived now. It's Life Insurance Awareness Month. And we've done a lot this month. In fact, our previous podcast, if you go back in your feed, one episode was about life insurance and millennials with the mention of Gen Z in there. But we also had some webinars earlier this month, right, Maddie?
We did. We had a Prudential webinar on the 17th. You cannot go back and watch that because it was only live. But if you're still needing some more information on life insurance and you want to know more, do not worry. We had AFSPA Live on the 26th, which is the end of the month, always on a Thursday. And we talked about life insurance there with our wonderful guest from today as well. So go look at that on YouTube at AFSPA Cares if you're just craving for some more life insurance talk.
That's right. And we use that opportunity to answer some questions that came in from our members and just some general questions about life insurance. And today we're talking about a specific topic related to our life insurance programs. And we're not done with life insurance. We're going to have a continued focus throughout the rest, actually the next couple months, I should say. And our guest today is the same guest that we had last week. So Maddie, can you tell us who's joining us for today's episode?
Our returning guest, who's been on AFSPA Live quite a few times, or AFSPA Talks, is both actually, yes, is Miss Adrienne Coleman-Seabrooks. She is currently our Senior Director of Ancillary Insurance Programs and the Deputy Director of the Senior Living Foundation. But fun fact, she joined AFSPA staff in 2006 as a customer service representative for the AIP department. So she's been with AFSPA for a while, and her previous professional experience is she was a academic counselor at Spelman College in Atlanta, Georgia, and she served 15 years as both an appeals and grievances coordinator and manager of case registration at a large health insurance company in Virginia. And she has a Bachelor of Science degree in molecular microbiology with a minor in chemistry from Spelman College. So she has the brains.
We are in for a treat today, I think, and I say that because I've had the pleasure of working with Adrienne for almost 12 years now, and she is not only incredibly knowledgeable about her subject area, as well as everything we do at AFSPA, but she's a fantastic coworker and somebody that many of us look to as a leader within our organization. I'm delighted to have her with us today.
Absolutely. So let's get on with the interview.
All right. And Adrienne, welcome back to AFSPA Talks.
Oh, thank you for having me. Always happy to talk about insurance programs.
I think you are now one of our most frequent guests, and we are delighted to have you back. And you have been working behind the scenes with Maddie and other members of our ancillary insurance program team, as well as our outreach and communications team, to make Life Insurance Awareness Month a success. And this is coming at the very end of Life Insurance Awareness Month, but those efforts have included going beyond this month so that AFSPA members have some more opportunities around life insurance. So Adrienne, can you tell us a little bit more about those coming opportunities?
Sure. We have really worked with our partner Prudential to make available more frequent open enrollment opportunities for our eligible members. And I'm happy to announce an open enrollment for our Group Enhanced Life or GEL Term Life Plan this year from October 1st to December 1st.
Woo! Very exciting. And before we get into the more details of the open enrollment, I'd love to, if you could just give us an overview of the Group Enhanced Life Insurance Program.
Certainly. So this plan enables coverage from $50,000 up to $600,000. What's great is that the policyholder can elect to cover their spouse or domestic partner at 50% of their coverage amount. And they can also elect to cover dependent children from birth up to age 26 for a specific amount of $10,000 or $20,000. And that $10,000 or $20,000 covers one child or more than one. As many children are in the family. They don't have to elect to cover each child separately. But what is also great about this plan is if your domestic partner or your spouse wants more extensive coverage, they can apply for their own individual policy. And this also applies to any dependent children. Any children, they're not dependents, necessarily age 19 and over. So there's some great unique features with this life plan that is of no extra cost to the policyholder. And one of those features is the accelerated benefit option. This enables you to use a portion of your coverage amount while living. And there are two, one if you were diagnosed with a terminal illness and one if you were diagnosed with a chronic illness. And a second great feature is the Beneficiary Advocate Program that provides comprehensive support to your designated beneficiary or beneficiaries, if you have more than one, at the time of a death claim. And this support includes grief counseling, where you have access to a master level grief counselor 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's a toll-free number. It also provides assistance with funeral arrangements, estate planning, and also financial planning.
Wow, that is really important, especially when something like a chronic or terminal illness can come out of nowhere. And where do you find all the money to pay for
So
that
true.
stuff?
And just the guidance, it's a very trying and challenging time.
Right.
So
You're figuring out, medical, and then there's all money's involved. It's a lot
certainly.
going on. So this offers both life insurance, which is payable upon death, and also some support in the situations where someone may have a terminal or chronic illness. And like we've said, that's incredible.
Yes, that's correct. So if you are diagnosed with a terminal illness with a term or life expectancy of 12 months or less, you can actually use 90% up to a maximum of $100,000 to use as you wish. There's no requirements on how you spend it. You can use it for a great family vacation, or you can use it for expenses, your home mortgage, however you wish. And then if you are diagnosed with a chronic illness that renders you unable to perform at least 2 activities of daily living, that is expected to last a lifetime and occurs for at least 90 consecutive days, you can use 50% up to $50,000 on caregiving expenses. That includes a home care service or durable medical equipment.
That's just an incredible benefit, especially at a time when so many people are struggling to figure out how to cover what we would normally call long-term care expenses.
Long-term care expenses, correct,
Yep.
Kyle.
And
maybe I should define the ADLs because they are specific.
I think that'd
The
be great.
ADLs are toileting, bathing, dressing, feeding, continence, transferring, and severe cognitive impairment.
Okay. So and those are pretty familiar for anybody who's ever dealt with a policy, particularly long-term care. Those are very familiar ADLs, activities of daily living. So
Yes.
and this is a great option, especially if you're not sure or don't feel like long-term care insurance was within your reach. It's not long-term care insurance, but it does provide some long-term assurance, if you will. So I signed up for the gel plan in 2020, and I did sign up for the maximum amount. And for me, this was a supplement to employer-sponsored coverage, as it can be for our members and our listeners. But I will say that I didn't sign up during an open enrollment period. So what is special about this period from October 1st to December 1st this year?
Certainly. So for that period, October 1 to December 1, members can apply for up from $50,000 up to $200,000 of coverage without answering any medical questions or health questions. So there's no medical underwriting. And your spouse and domestic partner can be covered from $25,000 to $100,000 or 50% of that amount. Children are always guaranteed issue, but again, if your your spouse or domestic partner, want to apply for the $50,000 up to $200,000, they are eligible.
Nice. And then who is eligible for open enrollment?
So, eligibility is available for AFSPA membership. So if you're a current member or those who may be new to AFSPA, as long as you're under age 60, you're eligible to enroll. I do want to add too that 50,000 up to 200,000 is guaranteed issue. However, you can elect to apply for coverage amounts greater than the 200,000 up to 600,000, but you will have to answer a few health questions. There are about 4. So if you apply for 600,000, 200,000, we're automatically going to roll you for. We will send the additional 400,000 to the underwriters for review.
Absolutely. And if you were to apply for coverage outside of this open enrollment period, the full amount would have to be reviewed. So this is a great opportunity to make sure that you get that $200,000 coverage with the possibility of applying and perhaps being approved for more.
The only
Absolutely.
exception to that, Kyle, is if you're a new hire. So if you're a new hire, you have 60 days from your start date to enroll for guarantee issue up to 200,000.
And I think that also applies when our members have qualifying life events as well. Is that right? Like a birth of a child, marriage?
They can elect to increase their current coverage up to $200,000 without medical underwriting. And even for members who are insured that are covered for $550,000 or less, they can increase their coverage by a specific amount of $50,000.
That's fantastic. So I want to reiterate to people, check out the GEL open enrollment starting October 1st. But I also want to ask, Adrienne, is the open enrollment period limited to our GEL, our Group Enhanced Life program?
It is not. We are actually having an open enrollment for our immediate benefit plan. And that plan is specific to active duty, direct hire employees, civil service and foreign service of the State Department. And that's due to really how we collect the premium. It is payroll deducted, and we've been very successful working with the Department of State Payroll Office in getting those premiums.
Nice. And can you go a little bit more into details about what the immediate benefit plan is?
Certainly. So just to give you a little or brief history, AFSPA had this plan underwritten. We shopped around for an underwriter for this plan at the request of the Department of State after the bombings of the U.S. embassies in East Africa in August of 1998. And it was very difficult at that time for the families of those killed to obtain the death certificates due to the circumstances around that situation. And death certificates are required for most standard insurance plans, life insurance plans, in order to process a claim. So IBP is different. We do not require a death certificate, and benefits are paid within 2 business days of notification of death from the insured's employer. So it's a very quick turnaround time.
Yeah, and this is a unique plan, and we've had it now for more than 2 decades since we launched it. But Adrienne, you've already talked about the fact that enrollment is limited only to actively employed direct hire State Department employees. Can you talk a little bit about what the benefits are?
Certainly. So it's a very simple benefit design. There's 2 benefits, one for $15,000 and the premium is only $2 a pay period, or you can elect $20,000 a coverage amount for $2.55 per pay period. The only downfall to this plan is that it automatically goes away when you are no longer on the active payroll. So if you retire, if you should leave active service, this policy goes away. And it's not available for family members.
Okay.
Got it. We've talked about some great life insurance options for AFSPA members, especially over the next few months. But how can they take advantage of all of our options?
So you can go online through our website, our secure website, and also you can go directly to the Prudential secure website in order to enroll. The links are at afspa.org/life. We also have a rate calculator for GEL. So you can go to the website and it will calculate your annual and monthly premium based on your coverage amount and your age at the time you enroll.
That is great. Adrienne, I am really excited to be offering open enrollment for both GEL and IBP again this year. And this is before we even get to information the weeks ahead. Not today's episode, but about health insurance open enrollment, open season for federal employees. So we're glad to have this sort of in parallel with that, so people are thinking about their overall coverage. But before we finish today, Adrienne, is there anything else you want to mention about, particularly about life insurance for the options from AFSPA?
Certainly. So I'd like to just mention our accidental death and dismemberment. I know you love that term, Kyle. Or AD&D as it's commonly called. This is really underutilized insurance to me. It's very affordable. It's guaranteed issue. Our plan offers you a coverage amount of $10,000 up to $600,000, and you can apply in increments of $10,000. This coverage will not only cover death as a result of an accident, but it covers loss. So in the event that the accident may not be fatal, but may leave you with some loss, like paralysis or the loss of a limb or loss of eyesight or hearing, there's a benefit, there's coverage for those losses. Our plan is only 66 cents per $1,000 of coverage for individual plans, and for family, it's 88 cents per $1,000 of coverage. So very affordable. And in the event of death, the plan will pay out along with any other traditional life insurance that you may have. So it's double assurance.
Mm-hmm. So, Adrienne, thank you very much for joining us today, walking us through both the GEL and the IBP plans, as well as what we can expect for open enrollment in the near future.
Well, it's been my pleasure. And I know that you will provide contact information if anyone has any questions. And thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Adrienne. Thanks again to Adrienne for joining us for today's episode. You can visit afspa.org/life for more information on all of our life insurance programs, including the Group Enhanced Life or GEL program, accidental death and dismemberment coverage, and the immediate benefit plan. You can also call our ancillary insurance programs team at 202-833-4910. This has been AFSPA Talks, a production of the American Foreign Service Protective Association. All information offered in this podcast is meant to be educational. The views expressed by the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily represent AFSPA. Should there be any discrepancy between information offered in this podcast and official plan documents for the Foreign Service Benefit Plan or the other products offered by AFSPA, the policy provisions will prevail. Thanks for listening, and be sure to follow or subscribe to AFSPA Talks to catch our next episode. We've got some great programming coming up for open season, and you won't want to miss it. Rate and review us on your favorite podcast app, and share feedback with us on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Look for @AFSPA Cares. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks for listening to this episode of AFSPA Talks. Be sure to subscribe to our channel so you'll never miss an episode. If you have any follow-up questions about the topics in this episode, join our AFSPA Live Q&A session on the last Thursday of every month. We will be streaming live at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/AFSPA Cares. Thanks for listening.